That's a big blow to think, wow, I can't do something like that anymore. And I wanted to show them, yes, you can. And I wanted to give them the tools to make it possible. It's a matter of, getting a grip and really sitting back and realizing, you know what, this can be something that can be good. It's never good to lose your sight, but the good things can come out of it.
Hi everyone, it's Carrie from Live Accessible, and today on our interview series we have a very special guest, Chris Peltz from Blind Grilling. And so today he's going to talk all about blind grilling and about his vision and everything in between. So Chris, say hello, introduce yourself, tell them about your eye condition and just what you do for a living.
Okay. Yeah, my name, as like Carrie said, is Chris Peltz. I live in Springfield, Missouri, and I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa when I was 10 years old. I grew up on a farm, and we had about 2,000 acres that we worked, and at the time, I was actually hunting, coon hunting at night when I started noticing that I couldn't see at night anymore, and started going to doctor's appointments and all kinds of things, and was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa.
How old were you at that time?
Yeah, I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it was young, and my dad gave me about a year to really kind of mope around and feel sorry for myself, I guess you could say, and almost a year to the day of being diagnosed with RP. About 4 o'clock in the morning, he grabs the side of my bed and picks it up and rolls me onto the floor off my bed and says, "All right, boy, it's time to get up, get outside, and get busy with the chores." So he told me that I would have to work twice as hard when I got out of his house. Might as well start working twice as hard while I'm in his house. I lost 80% of my vision by the time I was 16. So,
oh, wow.
It was down to just, tunnel vision, no night vision, no peripheral vision at all. And then it held steady for a few years after that. So from the time I was 16 to the time I was 28, 29, was fairly steady. And then shortly after that, by the time I was 30, my left eye was gone. And by the time I was 32, my right eye was down to just where I can tell if the sun is out, and that's about it.
So after losing pretty much all your functional vision, what is something that you really had to overcome, whether it was something to do with you or with other people?
I had to overcome perception, of what you could or could not do. The idea of whether or not you can do anything, just that type of perception, especially when you're in a smaller area, smaller town. They don't have, they're not introduced to disabilities as much, and so they're not able to really see someone functioning in a productive way in rural areas, in my experience. And so that was the biggest thing. I actually just got back from a trip with my brother-in-law earlier this week, and we had gone fishing down in Branson, Missouri, and had stayed up at the cabin, and he had walked down to check on a few things down by the boat dock. And as he was coming up, one of the ladies working at the resort stopped him and said, "Oh, that is so nice of you to do this for this man that's with you." And he's like, "Yeah, it's my brother-in-law." And she, because I'm sure, he doesn't get to do this kind of thing. And made it such a big deal that he had brought me with him. And it was like, he told her, he's like, "Oh, you just wait. As soon as he learns the lay of the land, he's going to be out here by himself," but she couldn't imagine that, and so that's something that really I think I've had to overcome more than anything is is for people to realize that we can function in a very normal way and do things
Absolutely.
that they don't expect us to be able to do.
And it's really interesting the way that you said that story, because me and Pablo have experienced something similar. Like when we use Uber, and they're just, some of the drivers are like, it's amazing that you get on an Uber and you go to different places, and you know, you don't always accept their help because you don't necessarily need it, because you might be familiar with the area, and they're just like, oh, that's amazing, that's amazing. And then so Pablo always gets very miffed at, you know, it's not amazing just because I can get up and walk. No, that's not amazing. Anybody could do that.
That's right.
I mean, if I go and climb up Mount Everest, well then, yeah, that's amazing, because not everybody's able to do that.
Yeah,
but
that's amazing for a sighted person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is something really that people don't understand. It's not that it's amazing. We've made adaptations, and we are able to do that because we have experience, and we've been trained, or we have trained ourselves to be able to do that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I mean, if they were faced with a similar situation, they would, you know, go through the same process of learning how to do that.
That's right. Yeah.
So what, during like 16 to 28, you had tunnel vision, but like within that tunnel vision, what were you able to see?
You know, it was kind of, it's weird because RP, you have good days and bad days. There are days when you can see things fairly clearly, and days when the very same thing that you could see yesterday, you can't see today. It was, so it's kind of hard to explain because of it would fluctuate even with that. And lighting made such a huge difference, because if the lighting was real good, if it was a kind of a cloudy day and wasn't real bright, I might be able to see a little something, 20, 30 yards away, maybe across the street. Whereas, on a really bright day, it would just wash everything out. And then of course, if it was dark, I couldn't see, couldn't see anything at all. So it really, conditions made a big difference, to kind of answer that question. I was able to read, say, 14, 16 size print font for a long time through that. And then as it started getting worse, I would bump up the print or font on a computer to 20 to 22. And reverse it, where a black background with white letters, and try different contrasts, and kind of went through that spectrum of things as I was progressing. I was able to, a couple of things I wanted to do. There's certain things I wanted to see before I completely lost my sight. So I got to see my wife, I met her, and I got to see her. And so as far as I'm concerned, she looks exactly the same as she did 23 years ago, and I wanted to see my kids being born, and I was able to see that. And, I have no idea what they look like now. So they're the absolute most gorgeous girls that anyone could ever see, as far as my girls are concerned, right?
I'm sure they are.
That's right. And so yeah, it was one of those things where, up close, I would hold things really close up to my face for a long time. And but it put a lot of strain. I could only read for a period of time before headaches. I had a lot of headaches. Bright lights would cause headaches. Eye strain would cause headaches. So it was a difficult time. And to be honest, I think we all go through this, but embarrassment, to use a cane, or for anyone really to know that you have an eye problem.
Especially when you're younger.
Yes.
Yeah.
My cane was really more of a threat to anyone that wanted to mess with me, but yeah, that, and with RP, one of the more difficult things, and why a lot of people would think, oh, well, you're faking it. I got that a lot, because you walk inside from outside where it's really bright. And even at a store, whether it was school, no matter what it was, all of a sudden your eyes don't adjust very fast. And so you walk inside from being outside and everything, it's like it's completely dark. There's no lights on at all. And your eyes may take 15 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes an hour to adjust. And, if you're going from class to class, and if you have to change buildings, then you walk outside and inside. It was pretty difficult, to make those transitions. And if you're inside for a long period of time, then you can see something. Then you walk outside and come back in, and they're like, "Well, why can't you see it now? You're faking it." It's like,
wow, yeah,
it's just hard for people to understand what's happening. Yeah.
Did you Did you go to a mainstream school?
Yeah, I went to public school here in Missouri. The good thing about it was a small school. My graduating class was 34, so that was kind of a benefit. Everyone knew everybody. We kind of grew together. With that being a small school, so that I think was really beneficial.
Did you have a teacher for the visually impaired, or like what services or adaptations or equipment and things like that did you use?
So I started getting cane travel. So I got cane travel mobility training while I was there. And then just a special ed teacher, Mrs. Sandhaus, I'll never forget her. Just a wonderful lady who actually started to learn Braille so that she could teach me Braille. There wasn't the computers like today in classrooms. So I was learning how to type, and then I was learning the Braille. But as I think I commented on one of your recent posts about Braille, I cheated because I had too much vision. And so I didn't use it, and I had forgotten it. And then I tried, so I learned Braille a couple of times, but that was the provision.
So what is your vision right now, Chris?
Right now, I don't have any vision at all in my left eye. My right eye, when it is extremely sunny and it hits just right, I can tell that it's sunny. But that's it. I don't, even when the sun is out and I can tell that the sun is out, a bright light, I still don't see shapes or shadows. It's just a light or no light. That's pretty much it in my right eye. In just a very small little area.
Chris, what piece of encouragement or advice could you offer anybody who is blind, visually impaired, or someone losing their sight?
I would obviously encourage them, to know that it's not the end. There are ways to accomplish the things you want to do. There are ways to live an extremely productive life, and to know that you matter to those around you. Sometimes when we lose our sight, we feel defeated. We feel as though we are becoming so dependent on others that we're more of a burden, and that's really not the case. That there's a support all around you. And understand, and I have to get this out because I am by trade a preacher. So God is not the one who's done this to you. It's not his fault. It's not looking at and trying to blame God. First of all, it doesn't help anything. It doesn't help the situation. But secondly, even if he allowed this to happen, he has more confidence in us than we have in ourselves. And he knows that we can overcome this. He's there to help us to overcome this in various ways. He has promised that there's not more that will be put on us than we can handle. And it's a matter of trusting him. This is a time, rather than to blame and get upset with him, but to rely on him and allow him to work through us, because he can use us even more so, I think, than others, in the sense that his strength can be seen in us by others, and we can be an encouragement. Because we're obviously, you're here, Carrie, I'm here. this blind community that's around us, folks need to know they're not alone. You know, when you look at all of these people that you're interviewing, the videos that you put together, and the way things are being done, the variety of eye problems that are out there, someone is going through what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Even with slight differences, we know what it's like to lose our sight, or there's someone out there who knows what it's like never to have sight. And there are
Absolutely.
support groups that are there for you.
I always say that we might not have the same exact experience, but we all have the same struggles.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we go through the same emotions. I mean, it's easy
Mm-hmm.
to sit back and say, oh, don't get upset. I was upset. I mean, I know what it's like. I mean, that's that happens, but it's a matter of, getting a grip and really sitting back and realizing, you know what, this can be something that can be good. It's never good to lose your sight, but the good things can come out of it. And it's just a matter of whether or not you will allow that to take place. If you will allow God to use you, if you will allow yourself to be used to help others. And that's what I would encourage people to do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. So, Chris, what is the name of your channel and your organization? And could you tell us how it started and what it is and how it works?
So the name of the channel is Blind Grilling, and it is with a G. If you search, BLIND and GRILLING. Our logo drops the G, but anytime you look for us on social media, you need to add the G. I think that's been some confusion. And it started on Facebook. I used to manage some Facebook pages for hunting and fishing outfitters. And the main one that I managed when he retired, I still wanted to do something. So I decided to get my kids together, my daughters and I, and we made a video cooking supper, a jambalaya for my son's birthday. And we posted that video on Facebook, and then I created the Blind Grilling Facebook. Well, we uploaded a lot of videos, got a lot of feedback, and finally decided, well, let's start a YouTube channel and post the videos on YouTube. And then I started getting more response from people who were blind and visually impaired, and just saying, that this is, how encouraged they were. This is something that's really great. Well, I moved back to Missouri and in 2015, and the week after I moved back, a police officer was shot in the head.
Oh, wow.
And he survived, but he lost one of his eyes, and suffered a lot of damage, a lot of rehab he had to go through. And so I thought, it would be great if I could do something to give back to these first responders who are putting their life at risk, and the veterans that are coming back and are injured, especially those who may have lost their eyesight. And so I filed for a 501c3 organization, and we determined that we were going to put together these grilling packages, and we would deliver them to with priority to veterans and first responders who have suffered vision loss. But we didn't limit it to them. But since that started, we have delivered a package to a first responder who lost his sight in the state of Illinois, an Army veteran in Florida. We did a gentleman in Texas who 20 years ago in college, he suffered bacterial spinal meningitis, got put in a coma, and when he came out of the coma, was blind. And
wow,
so,
that's incredible.
yeah, I mean, so there's lots of stories out there, lots of, various causes, various things that have happened. And so, but I just wanted to try and help and be an encouragement to others who may think because of the situation they're going through that something that so many take for granted, being able to go out and light up a grill and cook a dinner, they think maybe that's something they'll never be able to do again. And that's just a huge part, I think, of our culture. And that's a big blow to think, wow, I can't do something like that anymore. And I wanted to show them, yes, you can. And I wanted to give them the tools to make it possible.
That's really great. I love that. I really love your channel, except that I can't watch it when I'm hungry because you're always cooking something delicious. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
Especially the steak video. Oh my goodness. I'm just like, Pablo, let's go out and get a steak somewhere.
Oh man, and you hear this, I know, occasionally, but I mean, it's really true. It's hard to get a steak at a restaurant when you learn how to do it yourself, because you can do it. You really can do it better than you can get at restaurants for the most part. Few exceptions, but when and that's that steak video was done inside. That wasn't even on the grill.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That was just in a cast iron skillet.
I have to get one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are a must, I think, for anybody, especially because they can be used inside and outside. But yeah, we do some cooks inside while most of it is outside. But usually the recipes that I use, a lot of them are adapted from inside. A lot of casseroles, breads, different things like that. I've just taken those and adapted them for the grill or smoker. But it's easy to basically take the same concept, use the same temperature, and maybe just adjust the time a little bit and do it in an oven or on top of the stove.
Well, yeah, let's stop talking about food though, because I haven't had lunch yet. So how do people apply, or how can they nominate others to be, to get a grilling package from you guys?
So we ask folks to email us, and the email address is blindgrilling. Again, that is with the G on the end of grilling. So blindgrilling@gmail.com. So that's the best way. Now, if you go to our website, blindgrilling.org, there is a form that you can fill out, and it'll send us an email. We do like to surprise those that we give our packages to, so we try to work through the family and surprise them. But that's not absolutely necessary by any means. But we like to know what caused their vision loss, and whether or not they were military, first responder or not, just so we know, and why they think they would be someone worthy to receive a package. And we take and we get them occasionally, and we compile them together. We're only able to provide 2 or 3 a year, maybe 4. It depends on the donations we have, because right now it's just me through social media trying to drum up donations, and so we don't have a lot coming in right now, but as we get them, we try to get inventory on some of the things that we provide, such as the heat resistant gloves, the talking thermometer, the Pen Friend 2, and and various other products that we provide and all of that. And so as we get it, we choose someone to deliver to. But email is probably the best way to nominate. blindgrilling@gmail.com. Tell us all you can about them and where they live. We need to know where they live, city and state, at the very least, as we make our determination.
Wow, that's great. I love to hear that. And you guys are making such a difference. And is there anything else, any last words that you want to share with the audience?
I just really appreciate the support that we've been receiving. All the views and everything that we're getting. It's just been, it's extremely humbling to know that there are that many people that are not only being encouraged, but we are being encouraged by everyone who is commenting and watching. So we would just really appreciate continuing to share, subscribe, and help us to grow. our channel, because as our channel grows, the more opportunities we're going to have to help others, because that's what it's all about for us. We want to help others, provide tools and the knowledge so that people can have that independence in the kitchen, at the grill, and all of that. And we can't do it without the support of everyone out there that's following us on all of the social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course YouTube.
Absolutely. Well, you heard it from Chris. Definitely go out, check out his channel. I will leave a link in the description and in the YouTube cards. You guys, thank you so much for all your support, all your comments, and for subscribing to my channel and his channel. And you guys are great and amazing. And
remember, if you're looking, you ain't cooking.